Yeah, welcome. It's a pleasure. It's a great pleasure and honor to be able to welcome to the program a dear friend of mine, Lou Puliafito.
Close.
Say it the way it's supposed to. Say it with feeling.
Puliafito.
Puliafito.
Yes.
Puliafito.
That's right.
Sounds Irish.
Yeah.
No, I'm making a joke. That's definitely Italian. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like a bad joke.
Yeah. Anyway, he'll be known to many of the people in the viewing audience for a series he's been doing now on public access for about 5 years called Decent Life.
That's right.
And we want to, and that thought, just put it in your mind. What does it mean to have a decent life? Is it enough for the people of the world to insist, maybe collectively, that everyone ought to be entitled to have what is called a decent life, which would call for definitions of what does it mean to have a decent life? And he examines all of these things on his regular program that joins the other many sterling programs on our own public access channel, Manhattan Neighborhood Network. We're friends from about 1,000 years ago. And Lou, welcome so much to set.
Harold,
so good to talk to you.
It's nice to be back after about
looking
3
great,
years.
man. Looking
3 years,
really
4
good.
Years. Well, maybe a couple of pounds or so, but
now we got some things to do because, among other things, we're going to make it very clear to the viewing audience that this young man is getting ready to run for the mayor of New York, as the mayor of New York City.
That's right.
Ambitious and challenging, and maybe really appropriate that we do need a change in general. I think if you were to take a survey of the American population, maybe even the world population, and you were to put before the people, do we need a big change? Is there something that makes this particular period one that heralds or calls for a big change towards something that is something new that we've not had historically? And I'll bet the percentage of the people who would say we definitely are in that kind of a time would be people who would be your audience for a decent life and for the idea of a big change, including you as the mayor of New York City. Very likely. So it's not so outlandish as it might seem to some.
Oh, that's true. But basically, after that long intro, okay. So what are we doing here? What you're saying is that here's the right time to do this, because people want change.
The times are right for justice.
Right. But let's bear in mind
where there hasn't ever been real universal justice.
Let's take a look at this. Okay. One. Everything is a cycle. All right. Some people call it a pendulum. It swings and swings and swings. Mm-hmm. And if we discuss this further, which I'll maybe later in the show, but what we really want to do is have enduring change. And what we see here is that the way society is set up is that we have a cycle of change instead of enduring.
You cycle into change and then out of change?
No.
Cycle into justice and then out of justice?
Some people call it swings right and left. The ideas of the
that's
country.
just a political thing between the peoples whose ideas about how we're going to get to a decent life for all is to be achieved, and it never has been in all of history.
So that's how I got into the show. And Manhattan Neighborhood Network is that I have a different way of looking at what we need to do, because we don't look back to see what we've done. Mm-hmm. If we even looked at movies for the last 100 years, look at literature,
after the printing press,
the themes are always there. The same thing. Why can't we?
What is
the
there?
Themes?
Theme.
Yeah.
It's all boy meet girl, girl meet boy.
There are different things, hardships that go on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The good and bad. Why can't we solve our issues? Immigration. Why can't we solve immigration?
Okay. Worth bringing up.
Why is there some people who want to be kings and queens? They want to be dictators.
Yeah.
Okay. That hasn't gone away.
Napoleon comes to mind.
Well,
Mussolini. Remember Mussolini?
I see some CEOs.
I'm going to do my Mussolini. You got to show me doing my Mussolini. I'm Mussolini. This is Mussolini. He used to go, you're not doing me right. Oh, you don't. Can I get a one shot of me as Mussolini, please? Could I get this in? Yeah, Mussolini.
Well, I just.
And then you had Adolf. He thought he was some sort of a.
Want him hanging upside down in the square in Italy?
No, that's a different. That's a different one. This is the young Mussolini.
I
but
see.
yeah, there's some people. Or Mr. I liked him, the guy, the boxer, who said, "I'm the greatest."
Well,
you see the athletes, they say, "I am the greatest," and he was. I mean, he was really a good boxer.
Everybody.
Some people are better than others. You want everybody to be not the same. I mean, to be the same. Let me put it this way:
we
just
each,
a few points.
We each have been given talents.
You think so? Yeah. What about people who haven't been given any talent?
Everybody has a talent.
You think so?
Yes.
That's a very democratic sense of
well, I'm not talking about
ethos
democratic.
or reality.
I'm not talking about democratic, but everybody is dealt a hand, and they need to do the best they can with it. And if you can do the best you can with that without hurting anybody, you shouldn't be suffering.
You're an idealist.
Well, whatever you want to
No,
call it.
there's nothing wrong with being, but admit it. I mean, admit it. You'd be better if you admit it to yourself. You know, it's a psychological thing.
No, I don't think
I am an idealist.
I don't think I'm an idealist.
Then you can have all these people who laugh and say, well, you just don't understand the real world. You got no practical backbone.
But you know what?
That's what, people say that.
I think I'm a realist.
Okay.
I think I realize that living the way we have, competing with each other, and cloning each other is going to be our undoing.
Yeah, you do recognize that that's been largely the way the world's been put together.
And where we're heading right now.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, what do you think about that? Are you optimistic, pessimistic for the human prospect?
I think when there's love of your neighbor,
now you're bringing up love.
We can get there. What I'm trying to say is, I'm the realist here.
Yeah.
I see the problems with this world, and what we've been doing is all wrong.
What we've been doing is
all
wrong.
All wrong.
That's a big definitive statement.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, but you hear a lot of people in the street now. They want to protest. They want things differently.
Yes. No, that's what we've started talking about. And I think if you put the test to the people, most people would say, there's something, Bobby Dylan, remember the song, Blowing in the Wind?
Okay.
You said it was something blowing in the wind. And
most
people would say, absolutely, there's something that is needed for a major change that people are. No, if you go from my political party, we'll get it. If you don't, and the argument goes that way, as always, you know.
Can I get some words in edgewise?
By all means. By all means, Lou. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You
Lou,
know,
you talk too much.
I'm blunted to the program. Some people call me I'm down to earth.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
But
that's
anyway,
a good thing. That's a good quality.
So anyway, I'm running for mayor in New York City.
Yes, sir.
All right. Because I think that we need a different approach.
Okay.
Okay. And if we could bring up my my website for mayor, please.
Can we bring up, what are we going to try and bring up? There's something there that the producers are going to try and bring up.
This is where I feel that where the starting point should be. And that's where we should start our conversation.
Okay, by all means.
Okay?
Yeah.
And this is how we should set our agenda and how we should be heading towards.
They're going to bring up a graphic or something? Is that?
Yeah, she's going to bring up a graphic of my website.
Okay, good.
And basically, on the very first page, it's there's a quote from a religious leader back in 100 BC.
Yeah, Hillel, is it?
Hillel the elder.
Great philosopher.
All right, and now the quote, now I might not remember word for word, is, if I am not for me, who will be? As you see in the bottom of the screen, as you see, love your neighbor,
see it there at the bottom.
Collaboration. On top, collaboration, love your neighbor. That's my whole thing from decent life.
What is it again? Say it again.
Which one?
The 3 words.
Love your neighbor.
Love your neighbor,
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
so
good words,
see, we started
and
out.
And your quote is there at the bottom. Can we read it? It's very small.
If I am not for myself, who will be for me?
Yeah.
If I'm only for myself, what am I?
Yeah, it's a great quote, isn't it? Yeah, it's
well,
been over the ages,
and we've all been.
Hillel was great.
And we've all been trying to answer that. You know, we go, why am I here?
That's another big one that's been asked since Cro-Magnon cave days, I think.
So basically what we're looking at is the answer to these 2 questions tells you what society do you want. Do you want a society based on yourself, or you want a society based on helping others?
Well, why can't you have both? Or do you think there's a contradiction in that? can't you be very well pleased with yourself, and you also live in a society where everybody feels that way about themselves?
Well,
and then so the whole is also healthy.
No, but what you're doing is to attain it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at just yourself or just immediate whatever to attain something,
right,
you go down a different path versus somebody who's helping others all together.
You mean if you're just all for yourself?
All for yourself.
Right,
and you see this today, and you see
it's called selfishness, isn't it? Or it's part of it.
Yeah, it's selfishness.
Yeah.
So, but I do understand, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary to say, boy, I really have to take care of myself because I don't know. But that's where your faith comes in.
Some people would say that's the beginning of responsibility, that you take care of yourself and you don't have the other people taking care of you. You don't want other people you don't want to be dependent on other people for your good thing. You can just take rugged individualism and take good care of yourself.
Well,
some people would see an ethical standard that way.
The way I see it is you need to put yourself in optimal condition. So you
condition
to take care of others.
To help others, okay.
Okay.
Because what about you need put to yourself in optimal condition to help yourself?
Excuse me?
Put yourself in optimal conditions to help yourself. And your loved ones, let's just say.
Okay.
Or your tribe.
Right.
Or your nation.
But you see,
subdivisions.
What happens is when you go help others, it comes back to you.
You think so, yeah?
Well, what have we been doing so far? The way we're living our lives now, the way in this world of government and jobs and everything else, where are we heading?
I think it's very, very barbaric the way we live. Essentially, I mean, I think it's all a matter of, it's all, among all other values that there are loose that cements the world together, the major one that gives gives direction and meaning and goals to public, individual, and public and collective consciousness is money. Don't you think?
No.
No. What's more important than money in terms of what holds the world together now? That's the major value. Right. It seems to me.
Because look at it this way.
Yeah.
If you're contingent on money, loyalty is only based on money.
No.
That's right. If you get a better deal from somebody else,
right,
you're going this way.
Yeah, right.
There's no loyalty. You're just going to go to the highest bidder.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's the way the world works.
But it doesn't have to.
No.
And that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying it doesn't have to.
Okay.
Throughout the ages, there have been leaders that say that you don't have to live this life this way. You can live your life with love, right? You have Buddha, you have Confucius, you have Jesus.
And Spartacus.
Well,
you saw what happened to Spartacus.
Was good.
Yeah. Well, you saw what happened to Jesus.
Well, that's the thing.
Martin Luther King.
Right.
Shot in the head.
All right. So what are you trying to say?
No, I'm just trying to say.
Should I wear a bulletproof vest?
No. But the thing is that you're wanting to, and I'm with you. I agree. I think it's really true that this is the time of qualitative, not quantitative. You know the difference.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, as opposed to the whole thing. A qualitative transformation that perhaps, in a materialistic way, we now, no other time in the world could it have been, but we have a chance to have a world. I see it in terms of haves and have-nots materialistically. We now have a possibility for everybody, a technologically augmented capability for everyone to be, in a materialistic sense, a have, which we've never had. In order for some to be a have, somebody else had to lose. In order for somebody to win, somebody else had to lose throughout all of human history. And we now get to points where we have a capability for everybody to win.
But it's all
it's all just only in our time, in our lifetime.
Well,
that's been the case.
Let me put it this way. I'm not sure where you're getting at, but what I see it is that you have to care for others. For this world to survive, for us to survive, we need to care for everyone. So my campaign.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's talk about you.
We're going back to the reason is this campaign is an extension of my Decent Life platform, which is decentlife.com.
Yeah.
As you see, every honest, hardworking person deserves a decent life. Okay. And my quote here is that throughout history, change only reset the pendulum. due to the shortcomings of competition. We need to create enduring change through collaboration.
All right, cooperation and collaboration.
That's right.
Yeah,
So,
right. Okay,
see,
that's an idealistic
now look
view.
at it this way: all of us is a block of wood or marble.
Yeah.
We have our DNA, our genetics set up, but it's our environment that chisels us to make us to the person where we are. So you have to think about that. Maybe who's doing the chiseling on us is not really have it right.
Chiseling, you mean like chiseling a statue, or
Yeah,
chiseling
exactly.
in terms
You
of
are
a
here
bad
today.
deal,
No, you are
on a
here
deal?
today based on your life experiences.
Yeah.
What you're exposing today, and why you have this show and everything else is based on your life experiences. This is the baggage you had coming through to here. Now, what I'm saying is that we need to get out of this box of competition and look at collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay, because you get fed all the time how to compete. But when you go to your place of worship, love your neighbor. So what happens what happens when you walk out of your place of worship? You become a hypocrite? Or are you afraid?
Well, people think you're forced to. You're forced to.
You're not forced to do
No,
anything.
but they're forced to when they think you better.
No.
You better take care of yourself because nobody else is going to.
No,
that kind of self-reliance kind of thing.
That comes down
David
to the same
Thoreau.
question.
Yeah. Right.
Same question. Yourself or others? Okay? So when you're for others, there's enough. There's enough revenue in the city to take care of our children, to nurture our children.
How about in the country and in the world?
I'm running for
I know you are. I know, but
okay.
I'm just saying.
So, but what I'm saying,
you
it
mayor
applies.
of the world.
This is an example. Let's be an example.
Okay, right. Okay.
To show the rest of the country.
It's not enough to be just Manhattan or Brooklyn.
Well, let me put it this way.
Your scope.
We're one of the financial capitals of the world, New York City.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why are children still being abused here?
I don't know, boy. I tell you, I ask
why
all
children
the time.
don't have food.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you tell me, Mayor.
Right? Okay, right.
Elect, you
know. First, we have to answer that question. There's two questions.
Okay.
All right, where you want to be.
Well, what...
And what are senior citizens? Why are they left in nursing homes?
Because they can't get out there. Because they can't get out there and move big, heavy stones, or get down in them sewers and do the things that have to be done in order for civilization to be grown. You have to have the people doing all the hard work and doing all the things they do.
I applaud everybody that does hard work. I applaud everybody who's honest and hardworking, goes out there every day, whether they're cleaning toilets or running a major corporation. I applaud you as long as you're honest and hardworking. And we should have a baseline for everyone.
Baseline for
home. A home.
Oh,
food,
that's
retirement.
Yeah, but that's materialistically seeing things. Yeah, right. I agree with that. I mean, I agree with that. Obviously, that's something I believe in. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, and we have the capability. In order for some to have had they were living in feudal times. They were living in castles. It was always like that. 1,000 years after Rome, and then Rome, you had Caesar living like a lord,
right. So
and everybody else wallowing around in the mud.
We'll go to another spiritual leader.
Okay.
Pope Francis. Right?
Current Pope Francis. Great guy, I think.
Right?
I like him.
What's he exposing? He's exposing love, trying to acceptance, unconditional love. He's reaching out to people who've been divorced, who are gay, right? He's reaching out to everybody because that's what love is.
Yeah.
We have to bring people in. And he even wants priests to be married, which makes great sense because when you have a family and a family comes to you, if you're a priest, you have experience dealing with a family.
Yeah, you have experience to talk of what you talk. You know, yeah, right, yeah.
Okay, so and one of the things he says is that it's not just assassinations or terrorism that plague us. It's the economic structures that are terrorizing the people. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Terrorizing the people that they cannot have a fair life, have a life full of dignity to provide for their family instead of nowadays groveling. You know,
go ahead.
And
groveling
to keep the job.
To keep the job, yeah, right.
You know, or try to do something. So we want a fairness in society.
Fairness. Okay, these are big words. Yeah, right.
So we need to go to fairness. The only way you have fairness is when you have love. Okay, and people need to change their look of how they look at people, how they look at a tree, how they look at a rock, because everything has God in it.
Well, now you're getting to some big themes.
That's
like
right.
God is a pretty big theme, you know.
That's right.
A lot of lives have been lost on the altar
let
of
me
God
put it this
being
way.
my God being better than your God.
God is a word for something we don't know about.
Okay,
Right?
that's a thought.
That we don't know.
Well,
We don't know. But we do know is that all religions, at least the ones that I know, they want to practice love your neighbor. So let's get out of our place of worship and start loving our neighbor every day.
These are some.
Every day.
Now you're actually running for mayor, right? And do you have a what do they do? You have a list of the issues that you think are important that you would ask people to become interested in what you're saying?
Number one, I think, is on everybody's mind is housing. Right now, I think the current report is that two-thirds of renters' income goes to rent. 2/3.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Right?
Yeah.
So we need to
doesn't leave much out for
address
anything
that
else.
issue.
Yeah.
So is it? Some people talk, it's just business. It's fair market.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's no such thing as a fair market. Everything, I go along with Trump sometimes. Everything is rigged. All right? And what you see and how he's running this administration.
I'm sorry, who are you talking about? Trump. Oh, yeah.
So
well,
I'm just
some people like him,
this,
some don't, yeah.
But what you're seeing is, and what's confusing him, is that he's running it as he was doing a business. You don't
He's
have
a businessman.
He's have a spotlight because there is the old boy network. There is you do me a favor.
Yeah, there's also
you do me a favor, I do you a favor, and it comes down the line. And so loyalty is a big thing. You understand? So he doesn't realize is that when you're dealing with the Constitution, you're dealing with people's lives, you're going to be in the spotlight for what you did. So don't get me wrong. I think I don't have this, but businesses is a network of people doing everybody favors. So that's why when he lashes out to a judge is because he knows things are rigged. He's telling you how business is today, but people aren't hearing it.
Well, I think he's saying that there's too much government with all this namby-pamby kind of stuff and getting it all confused with things like the Constitution and things like that to get in the way of a good, hardcore business negotiating capability, which he's a pro at.
I'm talking
he's
about
used to that. I think he's going to get himself in trouble.
What people don't see behind the scenes when people run their businesses is what you're seeing from Trump. And that's the examples of what it is. Because you think, two executives meet for drinks, or in one of the restrooms, and they're talking. This is where the deals are basically being made on the side, he's just follow Trump, and you know what's going on.
Yeah, and he's good at it.
Right, and the thing is, we need to stop it. All right, and I think
you think there's a big move to stop Trump. Is that what you mean?
I think that
he may be doing it himself.
I think Trump has a lot of baggage. We shouldn't be so angry.
Well, maybe
we shouldn't be so hateful of him. Because just imagine, he's the poor little rich boy.
He's the what?
Poor little rich boy.
Poor little rich boy. Yeah, they used to have tales about that.
God only knows what he suffered at the hands of his parents. And God only knows how his children and him interacted.
His father said, get out there and compete.
So this is what I'm telling you about is empathy.
Yeah.
We need to
Empathy
understand.
Is another important value,
You need to understand people, and you need to not quickly label people.
That's so you can outmaneuver them. You ought to understand and empathize with them so you can outmaneuver them and win. And be a winner, not a loser.
Maybe in your world.
No, I'm saying in his world.
Let me put with competition.
He's a winner. Yeah.
Competition.
That's important to him.
Competition. Somebody loses. In collaboration, everybody wins.
Now you like collaboration, right? Yeah, that's a democratic kind of thing.
No, hold on here.
You don't think so? No, okay. Spell it out. Spell it out, candidate. Spell it out.
Let me tell you. Let me just say your experience.
Yeah.
Because I've been fortunate. I had a corporate career.
Yeah,
spent 20 years.
You got all these grandchildren. Suck. I mean, your grandchildren are just beasts.
I
You
worked at-
showed me pictures of him, that grandson, that smart aleck little 6 or 5
let me just get back
old.
to
Yeah,
Merrill Lynch.
sorry.
Merrill Lynch was the at that time.
And you're partial to your grandchildren.
I think everybody's partial to their grandchildren. So anyway,
Sorry.
so Merrill Lynch, all right. When Merrill Lynch was the #1 investment company, I worked at Merrill Lynch.
Yeah, I know
I worked
you
for
did.
Pete Mark, was KPMG today.
Mhm.
I worked for New York Life
In what
Don't-
capacity?
in IT.
IT, and
management.
information and technology.
That's
Yeah.
right, IT
You
management.
understand computers pretty well.
Well,
Or-
you have to understand how to manage.
Yeah, or manage people also, right?
Manage,
And
right.
do you manage machines the same way manage people? Like if you got a bunch of machines, you have to manage them and
machine
massage.
is a tool. Machines
Yeah.
are tools.
Well, are people tools within an
No.
overall organizational
No.
thing?
People are your main resource. A
Oh.
lot of people don't realize that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and as long as people know what you expect of them
Yeah.
and what they expect of me.
Yeah.
As long as we have this communication,
Yeah.
we'll move forward,
And
and
as
we'll
long
have
as-
more fun doing it.
Who has the authority to who gets what wages and who wins the
Well,
contracts?
we're not talking about
Oh,
that.
that's something else. Okay,
So,
that's something
so
else.
Anyway,
I was going to
so
bring up the
I-
Army. Did you ever have to serve in the Army? You have sergeant? I
no,
used
I
to try and
never-
explain to them we could do things democratic.
So,
They didn't want to listen. They really didn't.
Anyway,
I really
when,
tried.
When I was at one of these major corporations,
Yeah.
all
Uh-huh.
right, I went for management training.
Yes. Okay.
You know what
fair.
the management courses were?
Course one. Okay. What?
You know what the courses the set of
What?
courses
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that I took as a manager.
Yeah.
You know what was on?
No, I don't.
Collaboration.
Collaboration. Okay. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
because they realize competing with inside the company, different
Yeah.
departments, destroys the corporation.
If you compete inside, yeah. What you don't want to have, you don't want to have collaboration with
Okay.
inside,
So-
so you can compete against
So
the
let's
others.
take the abstract
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
If the corporation understands
Mhm.
that you need collaboration
The
to survive,
yeah, well, that would be on an individual basis too. Yeah. Yeah. It could be.
right? So
yeah.
you take this out and say, you know what?
Mm.
Collaboration is the most important thing. If they're teaching me about collaboration, it means that we need to flip it. Collaboration should be what we're focusing on, and competition is how do you make yourself better. So at that point, a light went off in my head. If a corporation, well, they say is compete. Oh, you know what? No. We got to collaborate. What is that telling you?
Well, it's a conundrum. It's conundrum, isn't it? You know.
Collaboration is what we need to
I'm
be
not
doing.
exactly sure of the figures, but I think there's something in a human organism, something like 200 trillion individual cells. You got epidermal cells, you got eye cells, you got all this, and each cell has a certain individual identity, you know,
Well,
and then they
that's
all
collaboration.
relate to another as
Yeah.
a system,
Mhm.
and you got a system, and voila, you got Lou.
Right.
But there's 200 trillion cells in you, and each one is individual and can be identified by our science now and everything. So is there a metaphor in there anywhere? And look at how well
It's
you're
an-
doing.
It's an example.
Yeah.
I think we need to stop
Okay.
and think about our lives
Okay.
and what are we doing and what are you here for?
Okay. And say, we're getting far afield, but it's a philosophy, and it's something that the world is confronting right now. And I take my hat off to you for doing
let me
it.
tell-
Now, what is your campaign? What do you have a bill of particulars or something
Well,
that you
first thing is-
want
is-
to advance
is
as
housing.
mayor of New York City if
Right.
you are elected?
We need to look at housing differently.
Okay, housing's a big
Okay.
issue, that's for
'Cause
sure. Yeah,
Housing directly affects children,
yeah, true.
okay?
Absolutely true.
Because environment really creates the child. All right?
Yeah, it's nurturing.
It's
yeah.
terrific. You know, they got universal pre-K, but the child still has to go home.
Mhm.
Still has to walk through that neighborhood,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
housing
Yeah.
needs to be diversified within all boroughs. All New Yorkers deserve to live anywhere in the city.
You happen to say New York because you're running for the mayor of New York. But
right.
you could
You
say the
can-
same for the state of New York or for the United States
That's
or
right.
the world. You
That's
could,
right.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
All right?
Housing is
So
essential.
if you want to help a child,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you have to work on the neighborhood. It's great that he's going to get education to go pre-K,
Right.
you know, great. But to focus on how do we diversify the neighborhoods? Are public housing
Yeah.
really the way to go?
Yeah. Really, spell it out. We got a lot of public housing, don't we, in New York?
Right. So maybe we should approach public housing differently.
Okay. Talk
How
about
do we-
what
how
we've
do we-
got.
how
Why
do
don't
we-
you talk about what we've got, how it got there, and then what we could do
Well,
to make it better?
back in what was it in the 60s
Yeah.
or whatever, where
Yeah.
they say, let's create projects because the politicians at that time wanted a group of people to vote for them.
Is that what was involved? Okay, I'm
Well,
sure
this
that
is
was,
what I know.
politicians have always wanted people to vote for them.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
gerrymandering today.
Yeah, of
Republicans
course.
have been doing gerrymandering for
They're
how long?
particularly good at it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but what happens is when you take low-income people,
Yeah.
put them all together,
Yeah.
you are creating bad neighborhoods, slum neighborhoods, all right? Because there's not the other diversification of the middle class.
Well,
the
the
high
difference
class
between the
in one.
people that are in, as you described it, that are in a constrained situation, as opposed to the middle class people, the big difference is the amount of money they have. Money gives you independence to go somewhere else, or I think.
Well, I think, if you go back to FDR, and who
Yeah.
was his economist? Galbraith? Kenneth Galbraith was his.
Well,
and they
I knew
equated-
John Kenneth Galbraith.
Did you?
I did a program with him up there in Boston. Yeah.
So
A
basically,
big, tall, gaunt ectomorph.
right. So
Beautiful guy. Absolutely.
they
A
went
great
to the-
sense of humor.
Right.
In fact, I was in his house, and my friend there was some hippie, somebody or other, and he blew. We're in the house up in. He was at Harvard,
Mm-hmm.
and his wife was gorgeous, really a beautiful lady, very generous and very welcoming and so
Right.
forth. And this guy was really some hippie guy. He did something, and he hit the light or something to get the right effect, or something, and all the lights in the house went out. So we had to go down in the cellar with a candle and and he was a very good sport through it all, And she was wonderful. She gave us Jello or something,
Well, your daughter
Wonderful
was
guy.
Jello.
John Kenneth Galbraith was a beautiful guy, and he was an economist.
Yeah.
But it would be more Lord Keynes was the one who set up the thing after
FDR?
No, after the Depression and into the 30s. He was the major economic guru that set up the
Okay.
system.
So we'll go back. So you're saying, Lou, what are the answers? And I do know one thing,
Yeah.
is that we have very talented people
Yeah.
in the city.
Yes, absolutely.
And what they focused on
Yeah.
is self. It's focused on the corporation. How do you perpetuate the corporation?
Yeah.
How do you perpetuate the business?
Yeah.
Instead of answering that question is how do we help everybody?
No.
So if the real estate industry, the
Yeah.
financial industry,
Mhm.
all very smart people there, change their focus,
Yeah.
we would have a better New York City. I don't have the answers.
If
or
they
the answers.
change their focus from
self
to
others.
collective, others, yeah.
Right.
Well, you'd have a hard time. Well, it's
No,
like
well, it's
if
a
a
hard
tiger
time.
could become a lamb,
Well, wait.
or
Right.
yeah.
Since
They've
Ron-
gone to Wharton and learned how to be a tiger to win and get more for your own, and that's what it's about. It's called competition, and the good ones win out, and all that is what's part of the ethos.
Well, what?
I hate to keep saying that kind of thing, but it is the truth.
But I'm just saying no.
You want the
I'm saying you're wrong.
Okay, no, I'm wrong.
saying
You're
you're
wrong
wrong.
in terms of what ought to be. You're talking about what ought to be, but not what is.
No, I'm the realist.
You are the realist.
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody else is in denial.
okay, fair enough.
They're
Let's
in
take that
denial.
theme. You're a realist that idealism
That's right. If you
could,
go down this
could be
path-
more effective than greed.
Huh?
You're thinking
Yes.
idealism and cooperation could be more
That's
effective
right.
in an overall sense than greedy.
That's right.
But greedy happens to be the thing that's really a
That's right,
major thing
because-
that's motivating the world now.
Because that's the push.
Yeah.
It's always been the push.
Always has been, I think.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. There have been times, like we said before, leaders came out to say that there is a better way. There is something else that we can do.
Jesus was pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
So the thing is that we need to get back to that. We need to understand
Yeah.
that
Or others. There are others, yeah.
what we have to understand is that by helping others, you have all New Yorkers helping you.
Yeah.
All right, because we're
Yeah,
all
if
together.
you can get that, Mr. LaGuardia, he used to read the funny papers for the kids. It was a real thing, and there was
Yeah.
a sense of camaraderie. Franklin Roosevelt was a great rallying thing for a lot of people who felt very, very dismayed by the
Harold,
depression.
just remember this.
Yeah.
All right? People who are winning usually make the news.
Yeah, the stars. It's a
Right.
star
So,
system.
and what are they pushing?
Their own stardom and their own talent.
Competition.
Well,
And,
not competition,
so
but
what-
also, I mean, some people are better than others at certain things, you know.
But that's fine.
Every time, who's the
Hey,
lady that's in the San
Harold.
Francisco movie that could
Harold.
sing in the
But it's
30s
okay.
movies?
But
She had a
Harold.
voice that was like gorgeous, you know, a soprano. Some people, we used to
some people are
play
gonna be better than
Caruso
others.
all the time in our house. We had records from Caruso. He could really sing,
That's fine.
you know. Or somebody,
fine.
or you know who else? And I know it's going to be hard for you because you've been at a couple of parties, right? And you've seen me.
Yeah.
Right? But you know who could dance better than me?
Who's that?
Fred Astaire. He
All right.
was better at tap dancing than I am. And I
right.
know it's hard for you to believe because you've seen me tap dance, haven't you?
So I just don't.
I'm
I
making
don't-
a joke,
No, I know.
Lou.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know that. But I just don't see the. I don't see the.
There are
point.
stars.
I did before. Everybody has their own talents.
Fred Astaire was amazing.
Yeah.
And Ginger Rogers did it backwards in high heels. I'm sorry, I'm just
Well,
rambling.
you can look at Dancing with the Stars now and look at
Yeah.
that too. You know what I mean?
No, you have to understand, I'm in complete agreement with you. I think that's exactly what we need is the camaraderie and the sense of being able to
So
cooperate.
I'm out here
Yeah.
starting the
Yeah,
conversation.
good. Yeah, and you're running.
taking
yeah.
the lead.
Yeah, good for
And
you.
what
Okay,
people
good.
need to understand
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that
fair enough. Yeah.
I can go out there and clear the path, but on a day-to-day basis, it's all about you. It's all about how do you love your neighbor.
You're talking to the
and
people
how,
now.
I'm talking to everybody.
That's good. You're getting
because
that.
you cannot. I cannot make the change alone, and I can't make the change after the votes are counted. If I become mayor, it's you. This is your city. What do you want to do with it?
Spoken
So
like
you need to get out. Stop the apathy that you have.
I
all
like
You
that.
do
I
have
like
a
that.
voice.
I like it. Yeah.
You do have a voice. So we could get together.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. We're not doing this to others.
Yeah.
Everybody's included.
Cooperate.
And we go
Cooperate.
'Cause
Yeah.
you know,
No,
when I-
talk to the camera. You're really doing good.
Right, but
You're
what-
talking straight to the camera.
But when I was in Occupy Wall Street, I'm
Yeah,
telling you now. When I
yeah.
was in
You were down.
Occupy
You were
Wall-
down there in the
Yes,
rain and the snow and
That's
the
right.
sleet.
I was down
yeah.
in Occupy Wall Street.
I didn't.
You know what I
couldn't
didn't
take
like?
that. Yeah. What? The rain and the sleet
The
and the hail.
hatred of the 1%.
Oh, the hatred of the 1%.
That's what I didn't
Well, who
like.
are you going to hate?
Huh?
Who are you going to
No
hate?
one.
No
No
one.
one.
No. What are you going to protest against?
When you hate, you become the person.
Okay.
that you
yeah.
hate.
Okay. There's wisdom to what you say,
Okay?
young man. Yeah.
So I'm saying to myself, and I said to people down there, you know what? If you want a solution, it has to include everybody. It has
Yeah.
to be a consensus.
yeah.
We all have to get together to say, this is how we move forward.
Like all those cells in the human organism.
That's right.
If one run away, do you realize that's cancer?
So
That's cancer. That's
yes.
what they're trying to find cancer. If there's a runaway cell in an organism, that's cancer.
Okay. So
I got a friend, Sat.
yeah.
He's a researcher in cancer. And that's what it is, a runaway cell. Okay, I mean, I just thought as an analogy, you know, for the political process.
Right. That we all need to.
What you want for a social way is you want every cell to participate in their own way and get a collective
and the
whole,
consensus. We
like a
can't-
big jam
we
session.
can't rule by majority. Just because somebody wins by one vote does not mean.
Unless the Electoral College says otherwise.
But whatever.
Yeah.
But we need consensus voting,
Yeah.
and maybe the change is to have ranked voting.
Ring?
Ranked.
Rent?
Rank.
vote.
R-A.
Oh, rink.
R-A-N-K.
Rank.
Ranked.
Oh, rank.
Rank voting,
voting.
which would have kept Bernie Sanders in the process of running for president.
Uh-huh.
Because he had to take back because Hillary took the lead.
Yeah.
Now, ranked voting, if for people who are unaware of that,
Yeah,
is,
talk
is,
to it, yeah.
is that ranked voting is that you could choose more than one candidate,
Yeah.
but you rank
Oh.
them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no matter how much you want to rank them. And what happens then is, let's say your first candidate doesn't make the cut of whatever the criteria is.
Yeah,
So you
right.
take those persons' votes
Yeah.
who voted for that one person and add it to their second choice.
Uh-huh.
So,
I see,
so
yeah,
this
yeah,
way
yeah.
you come to a consensus of who will be. It's not like you have to choose between two evils now.
Yeah, yeah, right.
You could say, I want to rank it like this, and this way maybe Bernie Sanders would have won. All right. And if
he had been able to win, if he'd been able to run in terms of Hillary, he would have beat Trump, I'll bet you.
Yeah. So I think ranked voting is one thing that we need to look at and look for. And also there's a group called Represent Us.
Okay.
Who
Talk
are
to
trying
us.
to
Yeah. Are you
pass laws.
associated with them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, not so much, but
No.
for me, what they do is that they're passing anti-corruption laws locally to build up the momentum. Right. Right. And they finally, in South Dakota, got an anti-corruption bill passed in South Dakota.
About the fracking and stuff?
No. Anti-corruption.
Anti-corruption.
About taking money, lobbyists, and so on.
Yeah.
And what happened was, a week later, whatever, before it was going in, the legislature called an emergency meeting and said, you know what, these people didn't know what they voted for.
Yeah.
We're all going to overturn the anti-corruption.
We know better than the people.
We know better than the people.
Yeah, there are a lot of people thought that way. A lot of people think that way. Yeah.
We need a transparent government.
Yeah, transparency. Okay, yeah.
Because when
and we have a capability to provide that. Everybody can get into the.
That's right.
They got these cell phones for everything.
So
it's all,
what I like to do is if I get elected mayor, is to look at the city's books, to see how much of our future has been mortgaged. Even though they say, we have money on the side, I really like to see, is that really true?
You don't
and if you have money on the side, why don't you pay your debt?
Wait a minute, you don't trust your political leaders? Is that what you're saying, young man?
That's
to an audience that is seen by your political leaders?
That's part of the problem.
And they have all these police and soldiers they have with M1s and tanks they have.
Part of the problem is
jet airplanes.
Believe it or not, part of the problem was our parents told us not to be politicians, so the good people went somewhere else. So what happened then is they still have to fill the positions, and this is what you get to vote on. And we really need to tell our children, go to public service. Okay.
All right. No. Go ahead.
Help the people because we do need good people.
Yes, that's true.
And I don't know how good I am, but I'm out there.
You're very good, Lou. I'm here to tell everybody you're
very. Trying to make a difference.
All your instincts are really good, and I think the more important than that. Not only are you things you're trying to say and doing, not only very good in an eternal sense, but they're coming more and more all the time, even though laughingly by some relevant. Yeah, and they're enduring and they're relevant.
But you know what?
And
the thing
it's
is,
a little hard to get at. But
anybody can do this. All right, you form a finance committee, right? And then you file with the IRS, get a tax ID number. Then you file your papers with the Board of Elections at state and city.
And get in the game. Get out and do it. Yeah.
And then you go to the New York City Campaign Finance Board and fill out the paperwork for that, and you're off and running.
And you're off and running,
That's
right? Yeah.
And the main thing is what's coming up for me, what I like to say is, I'm looking for volunteers to help join me, because in July.
Yeah. Wait a minute, this is now June. Right.
So
this
July 11th.
Next month. Yeah.
Next month.
Yeah.
To get on the ballot.
Yeah.
I need to collect 7,500 signatures from any New York City residents.
Are you looking for people to go out and pamphleteer and stuff?
Yeah. Help me to get signatures.
And get signatures, yeah.
Because
have you got the forms already made and everything?
Yes.
Clipboards and stuff?
The thing is, everybody has to do that. Mayor Dubel.
How many do you need?
Has to do it.
How many do you have to have?
It depends on what your office is.
What are you running for, Mayor?
Mayor is 7,500.
7,500.
City councilman is a different number of signatures and so on.
Yeah, okay.
So this is the main point where I need to get to, and I really, go to my website.
What is your website? Say it here. We'll put it at the end. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The website is lou4mayor.nyc.
Spell it. L-O-U.
LOU.FORMAYOR.NYC.
That's pretty easy. Lou for Mayor. It's got a nice ring to it. It could be a song.
You know what? And come in and volunteer. And so this way we could hit the streets in July, get the signatures to get on the ballot, and really to get noticed.
It's like Mickey Rooney and Judy Bond. Let's go make a show in the barn.
Hey,
I'm sorry. They used to have all these movies in the 30s, I'm just being.
If you build it, maybe they'll come.
Yeah.
You'll see, they'll come.
The one with the movie,
Build a Dream.
Build a Dream. Yeah, no, that's good. So you're in the midst of doing it. It's a lot of work. It takes time.
Yeah, it is.
And you're putting. Do you have other things that take up your time, or is this something you can put full time to and everything? You have. I know you got a couple grandkids and everything.
Well, yeah, I'm
you're
an
a great
average person.
family man.
That's right. Yeah.
No, you're a great family man.
Oh,
I know
thank
that.
you, thank
I
you.
know that from personal experience, and that's important. You're not out carousing and things much, are you? You're not.
They got tapes on that?
No. No. I know. You're a good
No,
guy. Yeah.
But basically.
And what you're trying to do is really
I'm an
worthwhile.
average.
Yeah.
I'm an average person. I have a nice family.
Yeah, you do.
All right. I was born in New York City. I was raised in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I raised my family here in New York City,
Yeah.
and now my son, as you've seen, is raising his family in New York City.
That grandson.
I got a couple of great grandkids.
And that
everything
granddaughter.
else. I babysit 3 days a week.
I notice you hate him.
I
You know,
mean,
you mean they're so
but
ugly. Yeah.
The
yeah.
point is, I see life differently.
Yeah.
than
No,
most
you're a great
politicians do,
inspiration to
all
them
right?
and to many, and everybody who knows
need,
you, really.
We
yeah.
need more people
Yeah.
like me,
Yeah.
like you,
Uh-huh.
average people,
Yes.
to get active.
That
we
is
need
true.
to get these positions and to move forward, because the Republican Party and the Democratic Party is not doing it.
Is that
And-
right?
And I tell you
Yeah.
what, even the Democratic Party, who they said they're on the side of the average person,
Yeah.
if they are, what's taking them so long?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And the problem is when you have big money donors,
yeah.
whether Republican or
Yeah.
Democrats,
Uh-huh.
what do they want to do? They want to keep their money.
They want to feather the nest and
They want to keep
make
their
the
money.
nest into
so
a
what
palace.
they want to do is, well, let's
Nest to
give
palaces.
people something.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that they know I keep my nest. Because why aren't they out in the streets? Why aren't
Right.
these rich Democrats out in the street? You know what? The tax laws are too much slanted one way. We need to pay more taxes. You don't hear a lot of people saying
It's not a
besides
very good
buffet,
thing to run on.
Besides, no.
It's
But
not
what
a
I'm
big-
saying is that's why the Democratic Party. That's why
Raise
the-
your taxes.
No,
I don't
but
think
that's
it'll
why
sell.
No.
Yeah,
That's
maybe,
why the
yeah.
Democratic Party is not getting anywhere.
We're not going to. Yeah. Okay.
Is
yeah,
because
yeah.
they still have big money donors.
Yeah. Oh,
Because
yeah.
if
yeah.
if I make a dent
Yeah.
in here, we
Yeah.
can create a dirty party just for the people.
What about the people who've tried? There was Ross Perot, remember? Remember Ross Perot?
to me,
And
I
that
think it was
sucking
kinda-
sound. He
he-
made
he-
a lot of sense, didn't he?
Wasn't he,
He got a lot.
he was
got.
kinda rich,
you
ain't he?
remember? Yeah, and
was
you
kinda
remember
rich,
you
I
had
thought.
all the volunteers. There were people who were just volunteered for him, and that great sucking sound with the thing going down to Mexico and everything.
All
Third party
I know
chances.
is we have to stop equating leaders with financial success.
Really? Okay, that's
like here, you know, what got me. Tim Cook from Apple the other day said about gave this great commencement speech
Who's Tim
about
Cook?
doing
I'm
good.
sorry. He's
CEO
Apple.
of Apple.
Apple
Right.
computer.
So
yeah.
I would have raised
Okay.
my hand and said, "Hey Tim, how about all that money you got overseas? When is this coming back?" So here he's saying, "Let's do good." But then he has his money overseas, where if he brought it back here, we could do good with the money, with infrastructure and everything else, and not build the wall, but for infrastructure.
Isn't that what
So
Mr. Trump wants to do?
Let's not talk about
You
Trump.
want? Well,
But what I'm
you
saying
could
is,
you want.
if you listen to people,
No.
they talk out of both sides of their mouth.
Yeah, maybe they have
I
to
call
do-
it somewhere else they're talking out of.
Yeah, right, yeah, I know.
But you understand?
Don't say it.
Yeah, right.
No, yeah.
But you have to be true to what you're saying from point A to point B, whatever it is in your life.
Mm-hmm.
All right? To do good,
Yeah.
do you have the integrity to do that
Yeah.
all your life?
Yeah.
All right?
No, integrity, and these are all enduring things, and also, again, timely. You know, you'd be laughed off the stage often through so many stages of history because it's always been the ones with the guns and everything would rule and everything. And it still is. You know, it's the leaders and
You know what George
Yeah.
MacArthur? What is it?
General MacArthur.
General MacArthur.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got.
I
a
don't
first
think it
name
was
so- no,
George,
I don't
you
think
know.
so.
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
Douglas MacArthur.
Douglas.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry
Doug,
about that.
Doug MacArthur.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when they were occupying Japan,
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
says
after the
is
war. Yeah.
the only way to occupy an area is to win their hearts and minds.
And also have an overriding military power to enforce it.
No. It will fall. Whenever the citizens are not following what's in their hearts and minds, or if they have the hearts and minds is different than what the whatever government is, it's going to fall. All the time.
okay,
Because
yeah.
as Gandhi said,
Yeah.
is that violence, even in the good,
Yeah.
even for good,
Yeah.
at that point,
Yeah.
still will have a bad outcome.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
paraphrasing.
violence is ugly, yeah.
Okay, so the thing is that we need a non-violent path to make our changes, and to do that, we need to all work together, come to consensus, and move forward.
And
and if I understand, hey, you know, people aren't going to say to me, "Hey, Lou, you're right. All these people with billions of dollars, you know, you're right. But you know what? There is a way to get everybody to join in.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Because everybody knows that to really move forward, we have to work together.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think you're absolutely. It's really good. Well, I wish you all the best and everything. Right. And it's getting underway now. Do you have a name for the party and everything, or you did?
Well, again, the party name is going to be Decent Life.
Decent Life.
Decent Life is the name of the party, but we can't. But I can't get it named as a party until
you get
governor's election, because it's when they have the run for governor when you create new parties. Any other off election besides that.
So you're going to use the title of your program,
Decent Life,
to become a political reality.
It's an extension.
Decent Life. Well,
you know, I don't BS. What I say is what I do.
The Decent Life Project. It's got a certain ring to it, doesn't
That's
it?
Right.
Decent Life Party. You call it that? And in your literature, do you call it that?
No.
No. Have you? Are you going to use it? Have you got a trademark?
Well, not yet. I've been talking to a couple of lawyers about trademarking some of my stuff, like the 3 circles that you saw in Decent Life.
Yeah.
People, environment, and business.
Is that what your three
circles are? Yeah. And when you put them together, overlay them,
yeah,
there's a sweet spot where you have Decent Life. When you have a balance.
That's interesting, yeah. That's the sort of thing we need, is to get something to get at this thing. Again, that thing that seems to be is, again, Bobby Dylan, I loved Bobby Dylan particularly. He was so on the money in terms of the zeitgeist and everything. He had it, and he said, you know, something blowing in the wind,
right.
You know.
And you know,
and he was talking. And I personally, for whatever it's worth, I think the transformations happened at a level of capability and everything, but it happened along about 1970, and we're just feeling the effects of 1970 coming into conflict with the assumed institutional premises coming out of 200,000 years of human history. But there was a transformation at the level of capability, material capability, that made possible something that never could have happened any time before that. That's my thought. But he had it, and you're right, though, and you might be.
Well, you know who was right? You interviewed Louis Kelso, and he talked about the 1%. Was that 1980?
Well, that was a different thing. That's a different way of forming capital.
Yeah, equity.
Yeah, well, there's some people on the left. All they want to do is get rid of the private sector. Let's get rid of those big bad guys who are stealing everything and living in castles. I don't think that'll work. You have to have some way of getting a means of distributing. Robotics are coming now like gangbusters. It's going to do in jobs. So the labor theory of value that informed Marx and the left isn't going to hold when you got the people who have you can't distribute buying power to the people through labor anymore. You're not going to need the laborers, and so you got a problem with Piketty. Have you looked him up? You should. You do well. Piketty, the French guy, young fellow, that all the economists are around now. And you got a problem because with the robotics, you're going to do away with the job opportunities unless you just make it all false.
Right.
Everything. But you're not going to have the means of distributing effective buying power to have the good life that is now available to us, but they won't have the ability for the people as they used to do with what they call a job. That's how people get money. They have a job. And that's not going to work.
Well, we have to say, because experts, like everybody else, we only know what we've been taught.
Well, yeah, but there's some experts that bring on new things to think about.
So the thing is to look at is that the experts who can make that transition
would be somebody like this guy Lou. You need Lou Fanatici.
We'll talk about that later on.
No.
You mean Lou Puliafito?
Yeah, Lou Costello. I was thinking Lou Costello. You know, no. And I think all your ideas are really good and timely. And I think they're probably something that people, if they gave it a chance to think about it, would understand
gonna
that
give you an
it
example.
mirrors their own thoughts really at a
I'll
deep
give you
level.
an example.
Congratulations on
thanks.
thinking on something
Okay,
important.
how many more
We
minutes
only
we
got
have?
about 4 or 5 minutes
Okay,
left.
one quick story, and this is what I mean about you need to have the stamina to continue this. Because a lot of people got to say, yeah, this is great, this is great. 1 week later, you like this. The point is, and I say what I mean and I do what I mean.
Yeah.
Is that one day I had a problem with a store, right? It was a deli, very convenient, work a couple of steps, fine. I had a problem, worked with them, turned out they lied to me. And I said, no, I never went back there again. Never. I'd rather walk the block or two more to another deli to give them the business to go back. And that's what you need to realize is that you need the stamina and you need adjustments to how we live our lives to improve it.
And
You can't just say yeah and do nothing.
Right.
So this is something to
and
think about.
and that place where we can go where the good life is being celebrated.
That's right.
And there are more people in positions of leadership that ought to be making that available. Somebody ought to start a political party and run for mayor of New York City.
I guess so.
And if you got a name like Lou, you can't lose.
Okay,
Hardly.
and
You
you
can't
know-
lose. You can't winning with Lou. You can't lose with Lou.
can't lose with
I'm
Lou.
trying
There
to
you
come
go.
up with a little.
You got a campaign slogan.
Yeah, right. A little thing
Can't
like
lose
that.
with Lou.
Yeah, can't lose with Lou.
All right.
Okay.
You're not gonna hold me to
I
if I
think we're
use
on
it.
our way, don't you? You know, we have.
I think so.
You
You
only
know,
got 2 minutes. Do it quick. Do it quick.
All I need to say is that on my show,
Yes.
I always say this, and it's true, is that we can stop the rain,
Yeah.
and all you need is love.
I like that. All you need is
All
love.
you need is love. And if you look at the songs,
Yeah.
Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Yeah.
All
You
right?
like
it's
Creedence.
about politics and how things can change.
I like Yellow
And the only
Man.
way things can change is when we love each other.
Yeah.
We look at the
Well,
world differently.
yeah.
We look at each other as peers. We don't look at each other as something to be defeated.
I think
don't
that's
look
been,
as
yeah.
a thing.
I think that's been said by all our great leaders over the years and everything, over
Oh.
the centuries. And now, it may be we've been privileged to be born into the time when that end time, and all the people will be able to do what they want in a certain kind of sense where it's liberated like a jam session. And it'll become like a big, gigantic jam session of a liberated humanity, where they're not all wage slaves and doing the things that they don't want to do, but doing what they really like, so that everybody's joining in like in a jam session. Right? You jam, right? You do a jam session, and the guy's going like this, and you got a certain level, and then somebody goes boop, 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 and then somebody goes boop, 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 and then they go boop, 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 and then they go, and you get a big jam session of the spheres.
All right.
And
just
that's what'll introduce
can I
us
just
into
before we
the
go off the air,
transformation.
please contact me
Yes,
through
by
my
all
website,
means.
Lou for Mayor.
Yeah.
.nyc.
Lou for
We're
mayor.
forming a group of volunteers so we could hit the streets, so we could start on this change of loving each other and heading down direction for our children, for our seniors, for our families.
All we need is love.
That's right.
Boom-ba-da-doom,
We
ba-doom,
can stop the
ba-doom.
rain.
All we need
And all we need is
love
love.
and Lou.
Thank you for
All
having
we
me
need
here.
is love you. All we need is love you. Okay, that's it. We're out, so we can stop talking. There's no more, that's it. Thank you for viewing.
You're welcome. So how do you think the show went?
Well, it's, yeah, no, we got more talking. She's introduced.
Oh, she said
No,
the-
we got a
oh,
couple seconds
oh, I'm
left,
sorry.
a couple minutes. Now it's out. We're out now, okay?
All right.
Now we can stop talking and all that and everything like that, okay? Oh, thanks, Lou,
You're welcome. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.